Oh, what's going on, guys? Gamer Dude back once again, bringing you some more informative gaming news. But before we begin, y'all know the routine, or at least I hope you do by now. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. So first things first, before I kick off this video, I would like to apologise for my lack of content the last few days. Turns out I have a pinched nerve in my spine, and it has been causing me agonizing pain in my back and my legs and my feet, and I've been unable to sit down, let alone play any games. But after some strong painkillers and smoking something that I would rather not say on a public channel to numb the pain, I'm feeling a little bit better, and I'm ready to get back into the swing of it. So let's get right into the video. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear is literally the only thing I have to say about this. It looks as though the next Batman Arkham game in the Arkham series, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, appears it's going live service, so it's going to end up like Gotham Knights and Marvel's Avengers. And we know how both those games turned out, don't we? Oh god, I'm not even sure I want to cover this, but let's dive into it. So, a lot of fan expectations are riding on Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and why wouldn't it? You know, it's in the Arkhamverse. Everybody has wanted a sequel to the Arkhamverse since Arkham Knight, you know, and now it seems as though it's just it. Well, I'm not going to say it's going to be a disappointment, but anything with Battle Pass in it or the words live service next to it always end up being kind of a disappointment, I must say. But yeah, it has been 8 years since Arkham Knight, and we all thought that closed out Rocksteady's Batman trilogy. Well, technically it did, because in Suicide Squad you're not playing as Batman, so let's just go with that. Now, of course, we all know Gotham Knights was met with dwindling player counts, and yeah, its credibility isn't very good. And it seems like WB Montreal has just given up updating the game. The game hasn't had an update since October, I think, was the last update. So it just seems like they've given up on it now, like knowing that, yeah, we screwed up big time. That's not to say it's a bad game. I do love the game, but it could have been better. Let's just go with that. But anyway, people are definitely hungry for a solid DC superhero game, and especially one that's fun and not bogged down in, well, quite frankly, bullshit. But a new leak is conjuring exactly those fears with a screenshot that looks busy enough to be out of a Call of Duty Warzone matchmaking lobby. For copyright reasons, I will not be including the screenshot, so sorry about that. Anyway, the leak originated on 4chan, and then it made its way to the mythical lands of Reddit, and proceeded to spread across Twitter this past Tuesday. The screenshot shows Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Deadshot huddled together on what appears to be Suicide Squad's main home screen. So similar to the Gotham Knights home screen when they're all on the building top. There are options to matchmake, set the difficulty, and also which chapter to play. Now, that again is very similar to the Gotham Knights sort of playability, you know, because we all know that Suicide Squad is going to be online multiplayer for the story mode, just like Gotham Knights, so that's nothing new, we all knew that. But there's also a reference to a store, which is giving off heavy Marvel's Avengers vibes. I mean, at least WB Montreal didn't add in a store for Gotham Knights. I mean, I don't know if they had planned to, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because it would have just ruined the game completely, and yeah, nobody would have played it after that. It would have just died. But the reference to the store did show some character cosmetics and a battle pass along the top of the screen. Each character also has two numbers below them, and there appears to be at least 6 types of currency. I didn't get a good enough look at them, I couldn't tell, but I did see like a dollar sign, so I'm assuming that means real world money. But yeah, I'm looking at the image now. Once again, obviously, I can't, post it in the video just for copyright reasons. But it shows Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Deadshot just standing around together. And you've got game mode, chapter select, difficulty, matchmaking, and play. There's also like a number of tabs across the top of the screen, and I'll list those off as well. It appears to be map, logs, loadout, so that's good, we're going to get a loadout, talents, social, battle pass, store, codex, and options. Now, it looks like it's a main menu screen, and it looks very similarly structured to Marvel's Avengers screen, main home screen, where you scroll across to the store, and then you've got the bits where you can scroll around to the different sort of stories, if you see where I'm coming from. But yeah, anyway, VGC reports that the screenshot is authentic and from a recent test build of the game. However, it says a source involved in the game's development told it the Battle Pass is for cosmetics only, and that the currencies referenced are solely for skill tree progression. Now, I kind of don't believe that. I've never heard in a game the word currency being used to reference, well, buying anything in the game that didn't mean you had to use real world money. Because everything in games that you can unlock, it just usually unlocks. There's nothing behind it. You just unlock it. It's there. It's a bonus. But anyway, even so, it does raise a fresh round of questions about what exactly the breakdown will be of a live service grind and monetization in the upcoming multiplayer action game. Now, I'm kind of not disappointed in a way. I did expect a kind of monetization vibe in the game, because even the Arkham games had a kind of monetization system when they introduced the season passes. You had to pay for those to unlock the extra missions, like Arkham Knight to play as Batgirl, or to play as Red Hood, etc. So it's not surprising that the microtransactions are in the game. I mean, we're in the age of microtransactions. It's expected for games to have microtransactions now, even if it's just a sole single-player game with no online connectivity. You always expect some kind of microtransaction to be in there, whether, again, it be a season pass. So, continuing on, will it simply be side content for those who want to play dress up with King Shark? Dress him up in a bunny suit, for example? Or will Suicide Squad be a numbers-driven slog like Gotham Knights and other recent attempts at co-op looter shooters? Warner Brothers Interactive have not immediately responded to a request to comment, so basically they're keeping their mouths shut until the game releases, and that's also a red flag, because it's a bad case of they don't want us to know if this game is going to have microtransactions or not right off the bat. And that's kind of disappointing. I was hoping that this game wouldn't fall into that trap of the live servicey superhero games that seem to be trending now. Like, you've got the big time one, Avengers, that went live service, and that was just terrible. It failed. Gotham Knights, live service. I'm not going to say it's terrible because I kind of like Gotham Knights, but it for other people, it's not a good fit. It doesn't work. Gotham Knights would have worked better as a single player narrative, and all this extra stuff that they've added with Starro. That would have worked better single player, in my opinion, and just having the co-op characters with you as NPCs, I think would have worked better. But of course, we know Suicide Squad is set in the same universe as the Arkham games, and it can be played solo. Just like Gotham Knights or Avengers, there are no requirements for you to play it with anybody else, so you're not locked behind waiting on a matchmaking screen, which is good. I like that. But a recent gameplay reveal makes it seem first and foremost like a squad-driven affair. So even though you can play it solo, it does seem like you are going to want to bring a squad in. Otherwise, you're going to be totally boned. You're going to be totally screwed. I mean, I can see it, really, because imagine playing as, say, Harley Quinn fighting Superman. Yeah, Harley would get snapped in half. I don't care what gear you've got or how powerful you get. Harley Quinn versus Superman is not a fight she can win unless she's got some kryptonite up her sleeve. So you can kind of see where I'm coming from there. You're going to want a squad with you, even though you can play it solo. Now, while it revolves around former Arkham Asylum inmates fighting a Brainiac brainwashed Justice League, we still don't have a very good idea of how the game will be structured. How much of its world will be really explorable, and whether it will be based around grinding out missions for XP like Gotham Knights, or progressing through the story like a more traditional single-player campaign, does remain to be seen. Personally, I do hope there's some free roam aspect to it, like Gotham Knights. I do hope they don't fall into the trap of like what Marvel's Avengers did, where you just get these small, tiny open spaces that you can explore instead of a full city, because we haven't really had Metropolis to explore in years. The last time we got to explore Metropolis was in a Superman game on the PS2, and that is a long time ago. Even though we're not playing as Superman in this version of Metropolis, it would still be nice to explore Metropolis, on whatever vehicles the Suicide Squad may have, or if it's just grappling, traversal, or parkouring. I would still like a full open world Metropolis to explore instead of just these little box maps. Although, to be fair, I have seen enough modern mission select screens to viscerally recoil at what's currently presented in the Suicide Squad League above. Now, we obviously have been here before with Anthem, Avengers, Outriders, and even to some degree Gotham Knights. It turns out you don't have to actually make a live service game to make a game that feels like a live service game. If there are numbers, that means you usually have to make them go up. So if the player base drops out, like it has done for Avengers, the devs are just going to think to themselves, well, there's no point continuing, we might as well just end it. And a lot of people who still play Avengers find that disappointing, and I think it's going to go the same way for Gotham Knights, because, like I said, it hasn't had an update for months now, so I think the devs are just like, meh, let's leave it. And for people like me, that is disappointing. But, if you don't have the player base, if you don't have the numbers, then there's no point continuing. But the next thing, you're busy like navigating a labyrinth of submenus instead of playing the part of the game that's actually fun. You know, you don't want to end up in every single mission or every single level having to navigate all these submenus just to like upgrade or get through a certain part of the game, like in Gotham Knights, for example. But hopefully none of this will be the case with Suicide Squad. We can only take all this with a grain of salt. I mean, it's just a screenshot. Who knows? The Battle Pass thing, it might just be for end game content. Who knows? Now, the game has been due out for quite some time. It was originally slated for release in 2022, but it was pushed back by over a year and is now set to launch in May of this year. I think, personally, it was pushed back because they needed to focus more on it. You know, they needed to work on it a little bit more, but also because they didn't want two separate DC games releasing at the same time in the same year, so fans would get confused, you know, because this one is set in the Arkhamverse, whereas Gotham Knights is its own thing, but I don't think, I think, sorry, that they postponed it because they didn't want people to confuse the two, you know, to think, well, actually, are these two connected now? You know, because maybe Batman dies in Suicide Squad, and now Batman's dead in Gotham Knights. You know, people could start putting two and two together and thinking, well, is it the same? Is it in the same universe, or is it just like a different timeline in the same universe? You see what I mean? You see where I'm coming from, at least, you know, that they didn't want to confuse fans, so they probably just thought, well, screw it, let's postpone it. Anyway, no doubt we'll learn more about what to expect in the next couple of months when they release a full, you know, cinematic trailer for the game's release, like every other game gets. I'm actually looking forward to it. You know, I love anything superhero related, and we have two coming this year. You know, we have Suicide Squad, and we have Spider-Man 2, providing that doesn't get postponed. So it's a big year for gaming, you know, and not to mention we've got Hogwarts Legacy coming in just a few short weeks, and I am so looking forward to that. I cannot wait to play that. I cannot wait to bring it to the channel and show you guys that amazing game. So do stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for any other videos along the way as well. There's a lot of content coming in the coming weeks. There's a lot of games coming out this year, as I just mentioned. So there's a lot coming to the channel this year as well. And that being said, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think Suicide Squad is going to be a full-on live service game and it's going to fail like the Avengers and unfortunately Gotham Knights? Or do you think they're going to save the live service stuff for after the main story and they're not going to push it too much through the main story? Let me know. Anyway then, yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I do appreciate it. This has been Gamer Dude. Happy gaming, and I will catch you all in the next one, guys.